My name is Nathan at Motorsport, and we have a surprise for you. Hey guys, my name is Nathan. I am also a member of Boosted Motorsport, where we are a merging of three companies, right? Which is Alpha Motors, EcoTune Trinidad, which is myself, and Boosted Motorsport, right? Basically, I started the tuning thing in this country over 10 years ago. I represent a company called ProTune ECU Remapping UK, where we offer custom tuning solutions for all European vehicles, right? We have done over 300 cars to date between St. Lucia, Barbados and Trinidad. What we have here is just an example of one of two of the only Golf R's in the country. This car basically has all of the modifications for stage 2. We have a 26mm white line rear sway bar. What this does is help the car basically get a more positive oversteering. So like on track purposes, you will also, when you're on throttle, because this is an all-wheel drive car, you have the ability to flick the tail around because of the sway bar that we install on this, right? We also have white line adjustable link rods, so that also stiffens up the rear. So now that we dial in a lot more oversteer on these cars, you basically have the agility of a shorter wheelbase car. So the suspension mods that we have done on this car, it's basically FK coilovers, right? That is the brand that Boosted Motorsport represents. We have a 29-way adjustable coilover system for this car that we put it on this car specifically to test it out before we introduced it to the market, right? This is part of our local R&D, if you want to call it that. All of the parts we supply more than 200 brand names for all European cars aftermarket parts wise, right? So we also try them out before we introduce it to the market. What works best on the type of roads we have, the variety of tires that you would want to run your vehicle on, and that stuff. One of the things we mentioned about Boosted is that the parts that we supply for local Euros, we also like to do trial and error. We like to do testing ourselves, right? So if you observe here, we utilize a catch can system by CTS Racing, where they have, this is a bypass for the original washer bottle. So this is basically just a collector with a tube going down into the bottom half, right? You notice here that we have it, rather than the CTS PCV system, we are using a plate by Bartek, who is also one of the biggest names in automotive German racing applications. They also supply stuff like forged pistons, hybrid turbochargers, all the little bells and whistles that may need for your custom European build, right? We had that upgraded, as well as we used a Bartek charge pipe, which is upgraded to 2.5 inches, which goes in to the 3-inch intercooler at the bottom, right? We also have Audi RS3 coil packs that we use. Basically, some people are of the opinion that upgrading your coil packs doesn't do anything. But just to clarify, by utilizing the RS3 coil packs, this offers a better resistance, which basically means for the purpose of our custom remaps, once we swing the RPM into 6.5, almost 7,200 RPM in this application, we will have a strong positive charge energy for when we adjust the timing on the tune. So for this Golf R here, what we plan to do in the future is take it to stage 3, where we represent a company called Equilibrium Tuning. So we are going to be supplying this car with basically a hybrid version of the IS38 Turbo, which this car carries. The flow rate for this is basically between 500 to 600 wheel horsepower. Now, a lot of people ask about the internals on these engines, but this E888 engine is basically, it's a forged crank, forged rods and Mallet pistons, right? It's basically capable reliably for about 520 torques, but to be on the safe side, because we have to utilize the assistance from methanol, we need to keep the torque at a consistent, smooth, flat range, looking at probably around 425 wheel torque, and then we can go, well, not ridiculous, but we can go reasonable between 500 to 600 on the wheels based on the horsepower output. Right? The software we're going to be using will be a custom-based map for this vehicle. So it will be both data logged on the road, data logged on the dyno. And our goal basically is to achieve within 10-second range on the quarter mile, while still achieving 30 miles to the gallon, which is very impressive on these platforms. Because as some people may know, they have an 8-injector fuel injector system where they have 4 direct injectors. So how this operates is that up to 1500 RPM, you have the port injectors working as well as idle. So it's 1500 and below at idle, the port will engage. And then from the time you step on it, the direct injectors kick in. But with the custom tune, we'll be working the port injectors to work beyond 1500 RPM. So you have fueling right through, in addition to the assistance of methanol injection. So for the methanol injection system that we selected for this car, it will be an AEM kit. It's very robust, it's very simplified. We also supply no performance, but we have that in our other boosted car, which is the BMW 428, what we have.